Well, with me in the studio now is the former world middleweight and super middleweight champion, Chris Eubank. And we're joined from Bray in Berkshire by the presenter and talk show host, Sir Michael Parkinson. Sir Michael Parkinson, you interviewed him many times. It didn't always look easy. What was so special about him for you?
That's the understatement of the year. It wasn't easy. I mean, he was an extraordinary man. He was an explosion of a human being, basically. But he was great fun to interview. That was the point about him. He had a lovely, wicked sense of humour. A lot of what he did and said, he didn't really mean. He was just sort of trying you out and testing you out. I was lucky to be around. We're all lucky to be around when he was around. It wasn't dull, that is for sure. And he had the most extraordinary gifts of communication. He had a charisma which was palpable. And people loved him. And in America, of course, he divided America for obvious reasons. Here in this country, we absolutely adored him. And that's why I loved coming here. A remarkable man, quite the most extraordinary man I ever interviewed. I
mean, you talk about, he divided people in America. He was not afraid inside or outside the ring, was he? Because it was his stance on black civil rights, Vietnam, that he was vilified for.
Well, certainly he was. He was a divisive man within his own country. Though, of course, when he first started, when he first came here and knocked out our Henry, he wasn't very popular either here. But he gained the confidence and the love of the British people. It was just an extraordinary thing to meet him. He was, when he walked into a room, he commanded things. You know, he was just unique. I've never met anybody who had his kind of charisma and his magic to entertain a crowd. He could actually, I mean, the sadness of it all is that when you look at the end of him, then you have to sort of ask the question, well, one or two people who were given the care of him, did they fulfill their promise? You know, he was, in the end, he died because of his craft, because of the job he chose. Yeah. But there was a time when he should have been actually pulled back from that, I think.
I mean, Chris Eubank, as a young man growing up, hoping to be a boxer, why Muhammad Ali? Why was he the inspirational one for you?
Mandela said, he made a quote in his inaugural speech. He says, "The world cannot be served by your playing small. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking, so others around you won't feel insecure. We were born to make manifest the glory of God which is within us. And when we let our own light shine, we unconsciously allow others to do the same."
So how much was it about his boxing skill and his stance saying, you know, I am part of America you don't see. I am black, confident and cocky. Get used to me.
Well, OK, I'm not going to talk on that. I'm saying that he was bright, he was vibrant, and that brilliance resonated. It touched people. People who were not interested in boxing. And then with the platform of boxing, he used it to actually amalgamate and harmonize the world. He brought people together. And a real inspiration, I must say, in America, Barack Obama, in this country, David Cameron, in the Middle East, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, there should be plaques, there should be bronzes of him all around the world, in each country to celebrate him.
So, Michael, you talked about, the end of his life. It was dominated by illness, but he once said that in a way he thought that was a blessing. It caused me to listen rather than talk. People now pay more attention because I don't talk so much. He seemed to find a peace in later life.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that he felt that. I mean, certainly those who loved him were unhappy by this vibrant, wonderful man, full of life and energy, reduced to what he was. Where I turned down an interview with him because I'd seen him talk before and he couldn't speak properly. And I couldn't face looking at the man who, had been so vibrant and so wonderful before. It was a shocking disease. And of course, the extraordinary thing about it is this man who graced boxing, who gave it a new dimension, who was the most important figure it's ever had, individual. He was the man, that was the sport that in the end destroyed him. And that's the fact about the matter.
So, Michael, for his legacy for you, if it's possible to sum up one thing that made him so special?
He was that wonderful combination of a wonderful athlete and a great entertainer, a remarkable combination and an extraordinary man.
And Chris Eubank, you met him, as you say. Very often our heroes disappoint. Did he disappoint?
No, and, I'm not even going to look at his boxing. I mean, again, that was his foundation. What he did for human rights, this is why the tributes of these bronzes around the world should be situated in all the great parks. For me, you know, I could see further, it is said, when I stood on the shoulders of giants. And that's, to me, what Muhammad Ali is.
Chris Eubank, thank you so much. Sir Michael Parkinson, thank you for joining us.